Coming to you from the TheEoNProject studios, overlooking the vast, pristine acreage of Primrose Village. Greetings from this hidden gem of the Blackstone Valley. You're listening to Experts of Nothing with Mike and Jay.
Ooh. That sounded like a Gregorian chant.
Oh, we've done that before. We've had the Gregorians. Oh, no, not the beverage again.
This is like my theme music.
That's not the maple butter sugar
this is
thing.
like plain black. And you know why? Because I figured out that the last week we talked about the brown sugar cold brew, and it's delicious. The sugar content in those is ridiculous.
Way too high.
Ridiculously high, so I went back to the black coffee.
Just straight black.
Straight black.
That's the way you like them.
Hey, you know what? I heard a great piece of advice in a movie once.
What's that?
Do you remember the movie Passenger 57 with
Wesley Snipes?
Yeah. And he said, "Do you play roulette?" And he goes, the bad guy goes, "Occasionally." And he goes, "Here's a word of advice. Always bet on black."
Wesley Snipes said that.
Wesley Snipes said
I'll go say it's okay then.
That makes it cool.
Because he said it.
You know what happened to Wesley Snipes? He was like one of the most... one of the most famous action stars of the 90s.
Well, he got into some trouble with the IRS.
Yeah, but before that, he fell off the face of the earth.
Apparently, I heard they're making another Blade movie.
Did you like Blade, the first one?
Yeah, it was all right.
I thought it was pretty good. It had Steven Dorff in it.
Steven Dorff.
Yep. Which I don't remember him in anything else, but he was pretty good in that movie. He played the king of the vampire guys.
That's right, he did. Speaking of crazy vampires, I had a weird dream the other night.
Uh-oh.
It had Kim Kardashian in it.
Well...
And here's what it was. It wasn't anything too weird.
I
shouldn't say that. It was weird. It wasn't any kind of sexual dream.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
That's disappointing.
No, she came over to my house to show me how to properly use and show me all the features of my latest smartphone.
Why did Kim Kardashian have to show you how to use your smartphone?
I don't know. She sat down and she showed me how to do all the different things on it. And
it wasn't a sexual dream at all?
No.
That's odd. You know what? We talked about this off the air, but I think we should have a dream analysis show. What we should do is find one of our listeners who is a dream analysis expert. We have a lot of listeners from various areas of the world. And you know what? I also realized that we've stopped giving out our email address.
We did.
Because no one ever emails us. But
let me give
it out now.
All right, give it out.
It's called TheEoNProject. That's TheEon Project at yahoo.com. You can also get hold of us on Twitter and on Facebook. We don't hear from our fans... I shouldn't call them fans because a lot of people don't like us, but they listen anyway.
Here's a challenge. We'll call it the TheEoNProject Email Challenge.
Ooh. The
first person to send the TheEoNProject an email from after listening to this program will
win something.
Get something of some kind.
We'll come up with something. We don't have an idea. We just came up with this just now. So,
what was last week's program? The last program
that we had, we discussed. You had mysterious people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we talked about the babushka lady.
That right.
We talked about who
That was a while ago.
Yeah, well, we had a vacation in there.
I did.
And then, every once in a while, we do need to take a break from the grueling TheEoNProject production schedule.
People don't realize how much we put into this program.
Yeah. Well, actually, believe it or not, there are some things that are happening behind the scenes. If you are a fan of the TheEoNProject, we have some exciting things in the works that we can't really reveal too much now.
Not too much now.
But we do have something exciting that we're going to be transforming from just a podcast to potentially other things. And we'll leave it at that. We're going to be transitioning to a more visual.
Have you transitioned?
Modem.
Have you started the hormones yet?
I'm still in the closet.
Okay.
Anyway, so this week's episode.
What are we talking about this week?
We got a couple of different things, but the theme of this week's program is going to be geographic places that have lots of strange things that go on. So that cross the spectrum of
strange happenings.
That cross the spectrum of the strange and exotic and not erotic world.
And we're not just talking about the Mike's bathroom here.
No, the strange things happen there.
Which reminds me, something happened to me recently. Mm-hmm. I heard. So let me ask you this first: if you are in a public place, say a restaurant of some kind,
okay,
and you need to relieve yourself, but you don't know the location of the restroom, or you don't know the location of the place where you want to relieve yourself, right?
Oh, okay.
And you're forced to ask somebody, an employee.
Well, there's where you went wrong already.
Well, just because
I would never ask.
For argument's sake.
I just wander around until I find it.
For argument's sake, you have to ask someone.
Okay.
What would you call the facility that you go into to relieve yourself? Like if you said, hey, can you tell me where the so-and-so is?
I would say restroom.
Restroom.
I think that's what I normally say.
So I was at a weird restaurant.
What kind of a weird restaurant?
I'll get to that in a second.
What was it? Was it the clam boat?
No, it wasn't the clam boat. And this strange gentleman went up to one of the employees, and I heard him overheard.
Oh, you overheard this?
Because I always listen to people.
Right.
He said, "Excuse me, where is the washroom?"
The washroom?
The washroom.
Like where they wash the dishes?
No, he said, "Where's the washroom?"
I wouldn't know what that meant.
I don't either.
What he meant the bathroom.
He meant the bathroom because that's where he went.
The washroom?
Yes.
I thought you were going to say the water closet because that's what they call it in England.
I see.
So we do have listeners in Great Britain, so that's what you guys call it. I don't know what they call it in Australia.
In France, it would be the WC. Le WC.
WC.
Anyway, so this is the kind of restaurant we're in. Have you ever heard of? And this is probably why the guy talked like that and asked for the washroom.
Okay.
You ever heard of a tapas bar or a tapas restaurant?
I have. I don't think I've ever been in one. That means like the small plates, right? Like the small foods.
It's basically just a fancy way of saying expensive appetizers.
Okay.
That's all it is.
That makes sense. That's why I wouldn't go there.
But all these fancy people go in there and they're like...
Fancy people?
You know what I mean?
Are they all dressed ostentatiously?
I was forced to go in there when we were on vacation, and they serve bits of tree bark and nuts and...
You were forced to go in there by
strange
whom?
things.
By whom?
This guy named Terry. Anyway.
You went to the tapas
So he's
restaurant.
like, I'm at the tapas bar, and I'm going to the washroom at the tapas.
Pardon me.
I'm going to pay way too much money for this hand-dipped chicken breast.
Do you have any handcrafted brews? Nothing that is macro in nature. Something that only 3 cans have ever been canned.
And there's a piano, and people eating dinner on the piano.
What?
Yeah.
They were eating dinner on the piano?
Yes.
What?
The only cool thing about it was an old
doesn't sound
18th century farmhouse that they converted. Other than that,
You know what bothers me at restaurants?
weird.
I'm sorry we're getting off the topic, but
Yeah.
we always do this. Is when you ever go in restaurants and you want to order something, it's usually seafood related, and it says market price. I never order that because what if the market like tanked overnight and I didn't know, and suddenly the swordfish that yesterday was $20 is now $37,000. I wouldn't know and then I have to pay it because I already ate it.
you can't do that.
Market
you can't
price.
Do that. You can't. You have to have the prices specifically outlined.
No, they
on
don't.
The
They
menu.
say market price. Well, they can manipulate that whatever they want.
That's right.
They're going to take advantage of me.
What if the guy woke up one day and he said, "Hey, listen, we're going to raise the price of this
Especially on that guy over there.
of this hummus."
I like. Oh, speaking of hummus, you like hummus? I love hummus.
Not bad, I guess.
You know what? I overate some hummus last week.
Did it give you the runs?
It did, and it was actually quite painful. And it was the hot red pepper hummus, so I paid for that in spades.
What do you eat the hummus with?
Like pita chips, some
okay.
sort of rigid chip. You can't use like a potato chip or anything like that. It's got to be like something that has some tension.
It
some
has to be able to
torsion
hold
to
its form.
It has to be able to go in. And then you know what? When you break a chip, let me ask you this: if you're eating a dip, right, and you go to dip it and you break the chip,
Yes.
what is the proper way to retrieve said chip?
So I get I get a rescue chip.
You get a recon chip.
I get a rescue chip.
To go
I
in
take
there.
that out of the bag, and I double finger the bottom of the rescue chip
Yes!
so it doesn't collapse under its own weight.
No, you got to send them in there.
And I scoop out the broken chip.
The rescue specialist.
That's right.
We thank those chips for their service.
That's the proper way to do it if you're in a social environment. If I'm home, I just stick my fingers in it.
in it. Anyway.
All right, so we're going to get into the topic, but we do have a halfway bit.
Oh, yeah.
This is something very special today.
Actually, I see and I don't know what we're going to do
Yep.
because this is a mystery to me, but I see that there is a third microphone that has been set up here in the TheEoNProject Studios, and I'm not quite sure what it's for, but
That's
I'm
right.
assuming it's for the halftime show.
That's right.
Okay, that sounds
That's
good.
all I'm going to say for now.
All right.
You want to go first?
Yes, I'm going to go. So, what if I told you that there was a place in the United States of America that was a hotbed of not only UFO activity, but also has multiple reports of ghosts, werewolves, shapeshifters, poltergeists, and assorted other weirdness that's going on? Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to learn about?
Well, you're going to learn about it doubly today.
You're going to learn about it whether you like it or not. You're going to get a whole load of learning today. Anyway, the place I'm going to talk about is called the Skinwalker Ranch, and that has nothing to do with what you do on weekends around your home, walking around naked, which is what I think of when I hear Skinwalker.
Oh.
But anyway, the Skinwalker Ranch has become somewhat of a legend in the paranormal world due to a number of different reports and other associated variety of activities that supposedly are experienced there, which I didn't know much about this before I started researching for this program, so I learned a lot myself. It's in a remote location in Utah, in the near Ballard. Which are you familiar with Ballard, the hotbed of Ballard, Utah?
Ballard, Utah. No, but I like Utah. I think I'd like to go to Utah
I've been
someday.
to Utah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you swam in the Great Salt Lake?
Oh, I drove right by
Its
it.
medicinal properties?
No, I drove by it, and I went to a place where they had the Olympic Games, which was in Park City, Utah.
Oh, yeah.
I actually went there for business. I'm a businessman, a traveling businessman. And I went there. It was actually a really nice spot. But anyway, so the Skinwalker Ranch is located near Ballard, Utah. It's a 480-acre piece of property, which is pretty large. And it's called the Skinwalker Ranch because of a few different reasons. That's what it's known as. It's actually not the name of the property. The name Skinwalker, also known as a Lucan or Wendigo, actually comes from an ancient Native American tradition that holds that there are people with a supernatural ability to turn into any animal that they desire. Did you know that?
Yep.
The ability to be a shapeshifter is usually given to the shaman or medicine man and is done through rituals and ceremonies where the skins of wolves or bears are worn and the individual changes into that beast. So you want to be whatever, you got to put the skin on you.
I see.
And then you take the medicines and whatnots, and then you turn into it. There have also been accounts of shaman creating, you know what a salve is? Like a salve, like a balm.
Like a balm, yeah.
Like a balm, consisting of peyote and other natural substances that they rub on their bodies, and it gives them the ability to not only change into whatever animal they want to, but also fly.
Oh.
Which, you know what, you take enough peyote, I bet you do feel like you're flying. So, the shaman usually chooses the skin of a coyote or wolf in order to make this desired change. So that's where the name Skinwalker comes from.
Okay.
So that's how this place got the name. Because there are many, many stories about half men, half animals roaming around the area. No idea what they're doing. They're just roaming around. They're said to emit loud and strange noises, not unlike what you've had when you've had too much to drink and you decide that Mexican food at 3 a.m. is a good idea.
No.
Strange noises come from your...
Never bad. Never good, I should say.
No.
3 a.m. burritos. Gas station burritos.
Or gas station sushi. Even better. Not much is known about this ranch up until the 1990s. A family by the name of the Sherman family owned the ranch and started reporting strange phenomenon taking place there. Early reports included strange portals appearing in the air above the ranch.
When was this?
This is the 90s.
Okay.
1990s. Strange portals appearing in the air, cattle disappearing and being mutilated, strange symbols appearing on the ground, like not unlike crop circles, objects moving on their own as if moved by unseen spirits, strange magnetic properties and electrical interference, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different
things going on there.
So yeah, you're crossing the paranormal realms here. And it was also right around this time that there was an incident which led to the actual naming of the ranch as so it's known as the Skinwalker Ranch. A local farmer who was tending to his farmer duties, which nobody. What does farmer do all day?
Well, he gets up early. You know, he goes. He feeds the livestock. He
milks the chickens.
He scoops up the manure.
Yep.
Makes sure that the crops are in order.
Why do they call it manure? They just call it poop.
Manure.
It's poop. Anyway, this local farmer was tending to his farmer duties when he saw a large animal that he described as being an abnormally large wolf.
Okay.
Attacking a calf.
Whoa.
Going after it.
There are some pretty big wolves out there.
Yeah, so we're going to get to that in a minute. Don't jump ahead.
Oh.
So this farmer shot at this thing multiple times and he swears that he hit it, but his rounds had no effect. And the thing just kind of meandered away without any indication that it had been wounded. So because that story makes it out that there's some sort of bulletproof giant wolf wandering around.
What kind of weapon was he using?
I didn't get that.
Oh.
Probably some sort of ranch rifle, if I had to guess.
Like a 30-06?
Yeah.
Or a 30-30?
You ever shot a 30-06? Those are cool.
Oh, yeah.
30-30, something like that.
You know what the 06 is?
Well, I remember back in 04, I was a shoe salesman wandering around the Midwest.
30 caliber, year of 1906.
Thank you.
All right.
But before that, even before any of this stuff happened, there were multiple reports of UFO activity in this area, including local papers, which published accounts of dome-shaped aircraft floating about. In addition to that, the Ute Indian tribe, you familiar with the Utes?
Do you know how bad I want to see a UFO?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, because you want to, you won't.
Probably not.
That's how that works. The Ute Indian tribe has a long oral tradition about the area, no pun intended, stating that shapeshifters and evil wendigos wander this area. So you got a lot of different reports at this time, and like I said, UFOs. You got cryptozoology.
Right.
You got strange magnetic activities and all sorts of craziness. In the late 1990s, a rich person with lots of free time by the name of Robert Bigelow.
Oh, it sounds like a rich person.
Yeah.
You remember Bam Bam Bigelow?
I do remember Bam Bam Bigelow. He had flame tattoos on his head.
He did. He was a large man.
He then later became Hakeem.
He did?
Yes, he was transformed from... Oh, no.
No.
That was the one-man gang.
Yes.
The one-man gang was transformed.
No, Bam Bam was
Hakeem.
just Bam Bam.
Bam Bam Bigelow. Is he dead? He must be
I think
dead.
he died of a massive coronary.
I got confused between Bam Bam Bigelow and King Kong Bundy. They're kind of similar in shape and girth. Anyway, sorry for that derision. So anyway, the late 1990s, this rich guy named Robert Bigelow, who had recently formed a science-based paranormal investigation group called the National Institute for Discovery Science, which sounds rather impressive, purchased the property and immediately began to investigate the various claims of weirdo activity. And because he was a millionaire, he had all sorts of funds and resources. He staffed the place with people like caretakers, and investigators and stuff. Staffed the place with people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And he erected a bunch of observation towers with cameras and other evidence-gathering equipment, and to kind of keep an eye on the area and stuff like that.
Ed and Lorraine Warren part of this?
Nope.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, so he began about an 8-year-long investigation.
Wow.
That's a really long time. Then suddenly, after 8 years of investigation, Bigelow and his team pulled up stakes and abandoned the property, and they left everything. I just bumped the mic. They left everything kind of where it was, so you can actually still go and see the observation towers and junks and whatnots there. Now, some people think that he stopped this endeavor because he simply never found anything. However, the conspiratorially minded argue that perhaps he found too much evidence.
I see.
Or that somehow he is tied to a government cover-up of the goings-on at the Skinwalker Ranch.
That's possible.
Well, here's some intelligence to prove that theory. There are some strange ties between Bigelow and the government, believe it or not. In 2007, shortly after he stopped investigating at the Skinwalker Ranch, he got a Pentagon contract, $22 million actually, to study advanced aerial threats, including some that remain unidentified. Oh. So he gets this huge government contract to investigate UFOs, essentially.
I think this is the same guy that invented Bigelow green tea.
No, but I like Bigelow tea. You ever have that?
No.
It's the official tea of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
They talk about it all the time.
Bigelow green tea.
I have my Bigelow tea and it keeps me from having phlegm.
Anyway, around the same time, 2008, Bigelow created a new company called Bigelow Advanced Aerospace Space Studies, a subsidiary of Bigelow Aerospace.
Oh.
So did he, in fact, uncover some compelling evidence of UFO activity, and in order to keep him quiet, he was paid by the government in enormous contracts to keep it quiet? Is that
probably
a
not. The
possibility?
government probably would have just killed him because they're cheap.
That's what I thought. They wouldn't just give him all this money, right? Unless he had proof that other people had as well, and
oh, I see.
So if you kill him, that they release.
Gotcha.
You've seen spy movies before.
I have.
What's wrong with you? Also strange about Bigelow around this time, he made contact with members of MUFON. You ever hear of MUFON?
The Mutual UFO Network.
That's correct. He made contact with members of the MUFON and offered to fund research into MUFON activities. But evidently, the investigators from MUFON quickly became suspicious of his motives and ended the relationship.
Oh.
Was he intervening on behalf of the government to infiltrate MUFON?
Oh, he was what do they call that?
A plant?
A Manchurian candidate like Donald Trump is for the Russians?
Maybe. Also weird, Bigelow is reported to have been part of the 1980s Defense Intelligence Agency's remote viewing program, where people with supposed psychic abilities were tested to see if they could remotely view other parts of the world. Remember that whole thing? You could. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say we never talked about that on the show, but that's actually that was a government sponsor, a CIA sponsored program where they were taking people and trying to harness the powers of remote viewing to spy on other countries.
That's correct, and this guy Bigelow was also heavily involved in that program. Today, so getting past this guy, Weirdo Bigelow, which I don't like the name Bigelow, I won't say it again, Bigelow. So today, the Skinwalker Ranch is once again in private hands and has become a hotbed of paranormal investigations, quote unquote, where people are tramping around the place looking for evidence of UFOs or werewolves or who knows what else.
Right.
And actually, there was even a movie made about the Skinwalker Ranch recently, which I did not see.
Was it called Skinwalker Ranch, the movie?
It may have been.
Oh.
So what's the deal with this place? Could it be like a portal to some kind of other world or dimension? Or perhaps more credibly, its remote area provides a great place to conduct secret military experiments that would result in sightings of experimental craft, strange magnetic properties if they're testing weapons, junk like that. But what about the werewolves? We've talked about unnaturally large animals being mistaken for supernatural beings in the past. Remember, we talked about the beast of Vauban,
right,
which was in France,
right,
which turned out to be just like this enormous
giant wolf, right.
So what the heck's going on at the Skinwalker Ranch? A lot of different things going on there.
Well, there's a lot of Native Americans. There's a lot of strange herbal teas, ingestions that are taking place. You know, there could be possibly some natural magnetic properties concentrated there that are having an effect. Because if you expose yourself to electromagnetic fields for long periods of time, large ones,
start to feel weird.
Your brain starts to turn to scrambled eggs, and you start seeing stuff. And
well, even in small doses. I mean, I know that we've talked about. You ever heard the term the fear cage? You ever hear that?
Sure.
It's when you're in an area that has, like you said, high levels of electromagnetic energy, whether it's maybe you're near a transformer or some sort of large electrical equipment, and you walk by and suddenly you feel dizzy and maybe a little nauseous and stuff like that. Some people mistake that for otherworldly.
Right. So there could be a very natural explanation for some of this stuff. Who knows? Maybe it's supernatural in nature. But I will tell you this. Speaking of turning my brains to scrambled eggs, are you done with that? Or
yeah, I'm done with it.
There's this documentary that I watched recently. It's called Demon House.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this?
The Zach Bagans documentary.
Is it Bagans or Baggins?
I think he says Bagans.
Does he?
Baggins is Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah, he's the guy from Ghost Adventures, and he did this documentary about supposedly this very haunted house in Gary, Indiana.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the Demon House documentary is now available on Amazon Prime for free. So if you have Amazon Prime, so you can check it out.
I don't know what to really make of this.
Yeah, well, maybe you want to give a little background on the case itself?
Well, I mean, it was a haunted house, apparently, and the documentary is that Zach Baggins goes there.
Well, you want to give before that. So there was reports from a family that lived in this house in Gary, Indiana, and it looks like a very nondescript small house, and it's in an urban area. So it's not like a deserted farmhouse or anything like that. It's like right in the middle of everything. And this family was reporting lots and lots of strange and supposedly demonic activity and possession activity and stuff like that. So Zach Bagans bought this property sight unseen on the phone so he could conduct his experimentations. And I'm sorry, go ahead. Go back to
No, it must be nice to be able to just do that. Have the money to do that.
I'm just going to buy this house.
But anyway, so he went out there with the express purpose of documenting these events to see if there was any truth to them. And supposedly all these strange shenanigans were taking place.
Yeah.
And even the local police were involved.
The police were involved.
In this, which I found to be very odd.
As a matter of fact, yeah, the movie shows that the police captain
was
reporting all sorts of strange activity. But you know what? After seeing an interview with that police captain, you start wondering about the level of law enforcement.
And the other officers, they go to this person's house. There's not even any crime or anything. And they're in this lady's basement digging in the dirt. And they found a Lee press-on nail.
They did. They found a Lee press-on nail.
I don't know. It's kind of outlandish.
Yeah, but you know what? If it is fake, right? Let's say it's fake or hyped up. Why is the police department involved?
Well, that's
that would be.
That's what I'm saying. I think the government needs to go there immediately. And take control of the city and the department, because clearly they're not in the right state of mind to be running the law enforcement operations in Gary, Indiana.
Some of those folks... Anyway, if you're interested at all in this story, it's actually a pretty well-done documentary up until there's parts where it looks like some bad acting takes over.
Sure.
Some attempts to dramatize events, and although it's passed off as being real, they never actually say, this is all real. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think they take some artistic license with things and just kind of make it more interesting for the program.
I think there's a couple things going on there. I think there's the power of suggestion, which can overtake people at times, and I think there's the power of deception at the same time. I think there's just a combination of different things going on.
Well, early in the, I'm not giving anything away if you watch this movie, but early in the movie you find out that there are some attempts to monetize this story, and for films and for other. So then you start questioning everything that they said before that and after that, because now you have many, many thousands or millions of dollars that are going to be promised to the people who experience this stuff. So then you start going, well, then is it real, or are they just saying this so they can get money? Who knows?
It just lends itself to something that we talked about the last program, and that is credibility, integrity, and things of that sort. You start faking one thing, and then the rest of it goes down the drain. I mean, some of the things were so...
Over the top.
Just like, and if these things were actually happening to people,
well,
there would be more, more documentation, more research into this sort of thing.
Well, I know we didn't plan on covering this story in depth, and I know you just mentioned it, but one of the things that did take place, supposedly Zach Bagans becomes overcome with feelings of anger, and he's possessed somehow, and he goes after one of the crew members.
Yeah.
But if you've ever seen an assault take place in real life, that's not what that is.
Right.
He just kind of like pushes them a little bit and makes faces, and you're like, this is ridiculous.
And one thing that Mike and I, have experience in, and I'm sure some of you others do as well, it's observations of human behavior. In other words, like watching somebody to determine,
what they're going to do,
what their actions and their movements are basically telling about themselves and what they're going to do or what they have done in the past.
Right.
It's unnatural. I mean, some of the way that these people move, like they'll be just walking, and then all of a sudden, the narrator will say, so-and-so is overcome by anger. And then you see the person just stop and they look around.
They almost say, I'm overcome with anger.
Yeah, it's just not it's not natural. And, we've had our own experience with that sort of thing, too. So.
Well, I was just going to say, we've run into that in person where somebody will be perfectly fine and then they realize there's a camera there and then all of a sudden they're overcome with emotion and have to make faces and stuff.
They'll be walking by the camera and as soon as they come within its frame, they're like, oh!
Anyway, that's the Demon House. Check it out if you want.
Yeah, please watch it and just draw your own conclusion.
And we'd like to hear your feedback too. If you watch Demon House and have an opinion about it, send it our way. Send it to TheEoNProject@yahoo.com or on Twitter or on Facebook, and we'll talk about it on the show.
And it's funny because we've talked about some haunted houses in Indiana before. It's a state with tremendous supernatural stories.
It's in the middle of the country, it's the heartland of America, if you will. Mm-hmm. And actually, that has some ties to what we discussed earlier. We teased earlier about potential future projects with the Eon Project.
That's correct.
Maybe we have to change our name.
What do you want to change it to?
I don't know. We can take suggestions on that, too.
Indiana Corn Boys. How's that sound?
Cornhole Boys.
All right, we're just about at the halfway point of the program.
Uh-oh.
And what we're going to do is, because I'll reveal this to Mike, we have a special guest coming in.
I can tell.
We have a special guest, and we're going to put Mike through the ringer here against this special guest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we're going to compose ourselves, and we're going to set up for the next bit.
Okay.
So stand by. All right, so we have a new bit here today on the program, and we have a special guest who's coming to the studio to participate. Okay. Say hello to the studio or to the audience.
Hello.
Who is this?
Your son.
You're not supposed to tell him that.
You're not supposed to say.
You're supposed to just say I found some random boy wandering on the streets. All right, so this is a new game. So Mike always puts me through the ringer with his trivia contest.
Well, introduce your son. You can tell everybody who he is.
Well, I tried to, but he's being silly. What's your name? Say it. Tell him everybody.
Connor.
Is that Connor with a K or Connor with a Q?
C.
Okay.
Wasn't Connor the name of the guy in Highlander?
That was Connor McLeod.
Connor McLeod. There can be only one.
Of the Clan McLeod.
Of the Clan McLeod.
I love that movie.
Actually, that guy Christopher Lambert is French.
Yes, he is. They're going to be rebooting that, I heard.
Oh, they're rebooting it?
Yeah, of course Sean Connery won't participate because he's long. Well, he's not dead, but
he's
very
old.
He's very old. All right, so the name of this contest is Old Guy Who Went to College a Lot and Got Himself a Degree versus a young boy who's going to be going to the 6th grade, and we'll see who's smarter.
I bet he is.
That's the name of the game. So we have several trivia questions here.
Oh gosh.
We have 11 of them actually.
Okay.
So we won't land on an even number.
And I don't know what any of these are.
You don't know. Nobody knows what they are.
You're gonna keep scoring.
And I'm gonna keep tally. So the way this is gonna work is I'm gonna ask the question, and if you know the answer, put your hand up quickly, and I will call on you.
Okay.
And then the other person gets to steal.
It requires some. Okay, got it.
Some muscular coordination.
That he's gonna win.
All right. So here we go. So here's the first question.
Ready?
Here we go. Which is the largest state in the United States? Oh, Connor's hand went up first, and the bell went off. That was interesting. All right, what's the answer, Connor? Alaska. That's number 1. 1 point for Connor. Keep track of your score. You got it? All right, you ready?
I didn't get a chance.
Question 2. Which famous document starts with, when in the course of human events? Mike.
The Declaration of Independence.
That's correct. 1-1. Next. Who said these words? I am the President of the United States, and I'm not going to eat any more broccoli. Connor.
Nixon.
Nope, Mike.
That would be George H. Walker Bush.
Well, George Bush. You're correct.
Yeah, the first George.
Okay.
George H. Walker.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, 2-1. Next question.
Got it.
Geography. Dover is the capital of which state? Connor.
Colorado.
No.
No.
Delaware.
No.
Don't yell into the mic. All right.
I'm winning by a lot.
No, it's 3-1. It's 3-1.
Yep.
Which spacecraft took the first man to the moon? Connor.
Apollo 11.
Yes.
Yes.
He got it.
He did.
3-2.
Well,
All right, here we go. This is a entertainment question. In the movie Finding Nemo, what kind of fish is Marlin?
Clownfish.
Oh,
man.
He tied it up.
He did.
3-3.
Oh, this is close.
Oh, this is another good one. This is biology.
Okay.
Which is the deadliest snake in the world?
Oh, gosh.
Connor?
Black mamba.
Oh, correct again.
I didn't know that.
4-3. See where your college degree gets you?
That's getting me nothing.
Whose face is on a dime? Mike.
That would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
That's correct. 4-4. Wow, this is a heated contest.
Oh, I have to try.
It's tied up.
This is tough.
Are you getting nervous?
Yeah. I don't
right.
want to get beat.
Which country has the largest area of land? Mike.
China.
Wrong.
Oh,
Steal.
Russia.
Yes!
Steal! He stole!
5-4. All right, here we go. In which hand is the Statue of Liberty's torch? Connor.
Left.
Wrong.
No.
Right.
5-5, right?
Long
5-5. 5-5. So this is
Okay.
the last question. Then there's a bonus question.
You have a drum roll?
All right, here we go. This is another biology question. What animal was believed to be a cross between a camel and a leopard? Dum, da, dum.
Camel and a leopard?
Oh, this is a tricky one, eh? Connor?
A horse.
Nope. Go ahead.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
That would be a giraffe.
Oh. Really?
Yeah. I
Did
don't
you
know.
make
It's
that
the
up?
first I heard of that.
You made that up.
All right, so it's
Oh,
tied. We have a tie game.
Tie game, extra innings.
This is the bonus question. This is for all the marbles.
Sudden death overtime.
You ready?
Ready to go.
I'm ready. Suspense is building. What U.S. president could write Latin with one hand and Greek with the other at the same time? Connor.
Garfield.
That is correct!
Oh my god! I had no idea. I would have never got that.
And Connor is the 6th grade
Wow.
trivia champion of the world.
Very smart.
You know, interestingly, I was just watching a documentary about Garfield. Did you know he could have gone down as one of the greatest presidents ever?
You don't really hear about him too much.
Aside from he was only in office for
got
200
shot.
days. That's right, he was
Yeah,
assassinated.
James Garfield.
So it's very interesting. Well, Connor, good job.
Hey, excellent game.
We have a prize waiting for you in the basement by the oil tank.
We're
By the
already
oil
in the
drum.
basement.
So, good job and congratulations.
Congratulations, Connor.
Already in the basement.
Well fought.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything as you part? Okay, that's it. All right, so he did a good job.
Yeah, he did. That was actually really hard. Well, some of the questions were easy, but some of them were really... And he knew them, so good for him.
You see what 42 years and a college degree will get you?
2 college degrees.
2 of them. Get you nothing. Overpriced, overpaid.
I'm still paying.
Worthless. You know what I do for college? I just make up a diploma on
You can do
Photoshop,
that. You can do that.
and I hand it to people.
Yeah, you just walk around handing
Tell
it
them
out.
I'm a proctologist. Many, many years of practical experience.
And you still need more than your finger.
Okay, so what's next?
Your turn.
Oh, I'm getting into my topic.
Yeah, your
And my topic is actually very similar to the Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker. But
Sounds
it's not.
like Luke Skywalker, except different.
Yours actually has a better name than mine does.
Oh.
Mine isn't nearly as cool as Skinwalker Ranch, but it's a place called Chestnut Ridge.
Chestnut Ridge.
It
Sounds
actually-
like a place that makes ice cream.
Either that or it sounds like a battle of during World War II.
Yeah, but it sounds more like ice cream. It's like I had a Chestnut Ridge maple pecan.
Oh, I had the pistachio and crazy vanilla meatball.
Who eats
ice cream.
pistachio ice cream? You ever see it's green? It's weird. Nobody eats that.
You know, I had a pistachio iced coffee recently,
Did you? I don't like
and
pistachios.
it was actually pretty good.
I don't like pistachios.
You know what I like about the pistachio ice cream is the ice cream, not the pistachio.
Here's a weird question. How come pistachios are red sometimes?
Well, it's the dye that they put on them.
Why do they put a dye on them?
Well, you know, for color and flavor.
That's stupid. Make it the way that the nut looks.
A natural nut.
When I put nuts in my mouth, I want them to be natural.
You want all natural, smooth nuts.
Smooth nuts in my mouth.
So mine is we're going to talk about the mysteries of Chestnut Ridge. Okay?
Yeah, ready to go.
All right. So, as we know, throughout the course of human history, and as Mike stated earlier, as a matter of fact, there are places in the universe and places on Earth that we don't fully understand.
Right.
It's a place where the veil between reality and the supernatural are thin.
Oh, the veil.
And you can penetrate the veil with the utmost fervor.
As thin as our level of intelligence.
That's correct. So, as we know, there's these strange portals across the planet.
Yes.
As Mike described earlier. So, some of these are, the Nazca line, some think in Peru, Bermuda Triangle, which we haven't really talked about much on the program, but we've all heard of the Bermuda Triangle with some strange shenanigans taking place there.
Shenaniganry.
The Devil's Triangle as well,
Yes.
which is a similar location. But today we're going to talk about Chestnut Ridge. which is
They need to come up with a better name for it.
Yeah, it sounds happy. It sounds like a happy, fun place.
It does. I told you, ice cream, maybe some mini golf.
I'm gonna go ride the teacups on Chestnut Ridge.
Some batting cages.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's today's location, and it's located in southwest Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So if there's any Pennsylvania people out there, what would they be called? Pennsylvanians?
Pennsylvanians.
It's southwest of Pittsburgh.
Hey, where do pencils go on vacation? Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania has some of the weirdest and most annoying accents around.
Pennsylvania does?
Yeah. Like the Philadelphia and the Pittsburgh accents, they're different, but they're the same, and they're both strange.
I don't know much about those.
You don't know anything about that?
No.
Okay. So it's the western ridge of the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh.
You know the Appalachians, and it finds its way from Pennsylvania, goes down into West Virginia. We all know the strange portals that occur in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
And it was actually
Mountain Mama.
the scene of some early
Take me
farming
home.
communities and things of that sort.
Country road.
Why are you interrupting with John Denver?
Because it's about West Virginia. And it's a natural segue.
So this is a place of all kinds of strange happenings, strange phenomenons. This is the pinnacle, if you will, of or conflagration. Is that a word?
Conflagration?
Conflagration?
That means like a fire.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, you mean a confluence, which
Confluence,
is things coming
confluence.
together. See, my education has paid off.
Paid off. You're a wordsmith.
Totally worth it.
Strange phenomena such as Bigfoot sightings, many Bigfoot sightings, aliens, Thunderbirds, which are gigantic, unexplained
We never talked about Thunderbirds on the show.
Nope. Dogmen,
Oh. Dogmen.
pig ladies,
I've dated a few.
all kinds of strange things. So the first reported cases basically go back to the late 1800s, when obviously newspapers were pretty prevalent back then. That's really the only
way you get news.
the only course of media outlets and things of that sort would be the newspapers.
Yes, no internet web.
No webs. So there's tons and tons of UFO cases, UFOs spotted in the area, and a lot of them by credible witnesses.
Right.
And the most famous of these, which I'm going to talk about quickly, is the Kecksburg UFO case. I don't know if you've heard of this.
I may have heard the term, but I don't know much about it.
So this is a UFO occurrence that occurred in late 1965 in and around the area of Kecksburg,
Hence the name,
Pennsylvania, which is at the Chestnut Ridge. And basically what happened was there were some radio reports of something strange that had crashed into a field in this area, and it originally had been seen. It was a fireball that had been seen over Ontario, Canada, and it started making its way over Michigan, Ohio, and then eventually coming down into Pennsylvania.
That's quite a large area there.
That's right. And as it was traveling across the sky as a blazing fireball, it was seen dropping hot metal debris across its pathway as it was making its way.
So not like a meteorite would.
No, and that was one of the the theories was that it was just a meteor or meteorite. What is it when it enters the atmosphere?
I think it's a meteorite when it crashes.
Okay.
And it's a meteor when it is flying across the sky majestically.
I see.
I think. I could be wrong.
So apparently there were eyewitnesses that saw this object crash into the wood line and embed itself into the ground. It was not destroyed, mind you. It was seen to have an acorn shape to it. A large, about the size of a small car. An upturned acorn. So the witnesses, when it landed, heard...
Can I stop you for a moment?
What?
You said an upturned acorn. What does that also look like? That if you had to reference back to
the Nazi bell?
The Nazi der Glocken.
Oh, die Glocke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe that's what it is, man.
So the witnesses, hundreds of witnesses, thousands perhaps, heard and felt it crash and basically saw wisps of blue smoke when it hit the ground.
Wisps.
You did a nice wispy sound. So within hours, and this is documented, within hours of this crash occurring, the military overran the area around Kecksburg.
Yep.
Coming in with trucks and personnel and Geiger counters.
Yep.
And they were searching the area.
A Geiger counter counts Geigers.
And they were checking for the object, and apparently they found the object. And many witnesses saw all this stuff going on, and they took this. Oh, and they were TV and radio reports, by the way. Ooh. So this was actually, they were reporting on this as it was happening in real time. So it's not like it was just made up or it happened in some obscure area that nobody can really prove that it happened.
Right.
Hundreds of eyewitnesses. They put this thing on the back of a 5-ton or something.
Right.
In a truck.
You ever been on a 5-ton?
Yeah, a few times actually.
Yeah, no fun. It bumps a lot.
They put a giant tarp over it, and they drove it out of town, never to be seen again. So they don't know. They're not quite sure what exactly
They sold it on eBay.
happened to that. That was 1965.
You know what? Can I stop you there?
Yes.
The fact that the military organized such a had such a well-organized effort to recover this craft within hours of it being seen leads me to believe, I should say, that it was a experimental military aircraft and they were ready for it to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they maybe they weren't sure where it was going to land or crash, but they were the people that were supposed to go get it.
Well, a couple different things. That's possible. It could be, maybe it was a space capsule that had been launched that was coming back to Earth. Because normally, what they do is they land them in the ocean. That's what they were doing. They were landing them in the ocean.
Yeah. You've been in the military. Mm-hmm. I've been in the military. What does the military do when it comes to any type of organized activity? They
yell at you.
They yell at you, and then you end up waiting for an inordinate amount of time.
That's right.
So it takes forever to do stuff.
To muster, that's the thing. If they had just gotten a report that something crashed,
it wouldn't have time.
It would have taken them
everybody.
forever to
Right.
get people together over there.
Oh, you got to call over to the barracks, and you got to get those people. You got to get the local women out of the barracks because they're not supposed to be in there, and they're all strewn about the place.
Yep.
Everybody's got to sober up, put their underpants back on.
They're scrambling to find their boots.
Yep, and then they got to get to formation. Oh, and then Billy Joe, E3, Billy Joel doesn't have a haircut. He's got to go get a haircut.
He didn't shave.
He didn't shave. His belt is missing.
No, he's unsat. He's going to get gigged.
He's in trouble.
So anyway, the point is that the military doesn't just all of a sudden can't they just spring to their feet in that case and come and recover a craft.
Unless they were ready.
They were ready, or they were they had been tracking it and they were waiting
Right.
for it to come down.
Yep.
They just weren't sure where it was going to come down. They had a general idea because they had basically been put on standby is what had happened.
Right.
So fast forward to the next year, the spring of 1966. Mm-hmm. The UFO sightings continued with a documented case of a woman who was awoken by her dog who was barking feverishly. And she went to go let the dog out because she thought that the dog maybe had to go relieve himself.
Oh, she let the dog out.
She let the dog out.
Oof.
So anyway, she goes outside and she sees a silver object hovering above the roof of her house for several minutes, obviously, and then all of a sudden it just blasted off straight up into the sky. And that's a common theme with some of these UFO sightings in the area.
What's that?
Is that's what people see? They see the
silvery craft hovering.
Maybe 80 to 100 feet off the ground, and then moving different directions, and then takes off straight up into the sky.
Right.
So strange happenings are not limited to the UFO phenomenon in this place, which is what makes it all the more weird and creepy and strange.
Right.
So hairy covered man beasts are being reported going all the way back to the 1800s.
Sure.
There's newspaper reports of a hairy bipedal man creature chasing and scaring people in the wood line. And
stealing their underpants.
That's right. So in the late 1960s, a young man by the name of Stan Gordon, an intrepid young man...
Stan Gordon, that's a strong name.
He decided that he was going to create a group that would investigate all of these things. Mm-hmm. And so they were the repository of all of these cases, and people would call them to go out and report these different things.
Right.
So he's actually, I think he's still around, and you can contact Stan. Maybe we'll get him on the program.
That'd be cool.
And he can talk about what he saw out there. But everything came to a head in 1973, maybe because of some supernatural event, or maybe because the hallucinogens were running rampant in the Chestnut Ridge area,
yes,
and the moonshine and all that stuff. But who knows? So there was a huge influx of UFO and Bigfoot sightings. And a lot of people think that Bigfoot and UFO are separate supernatural events,
right,
paranormal events.
Well, they seem to have a lot of overlay, though.
That's correct.
So what's that about?
That's correct. So that's actually one of the phenomenon that took place here at the Chestnut Ridge.
Maybe the aliens are actually big feet.
So there was a report of an older lady who had looked out and she saw Bigfoot out of her double wide. Mm-hmm. Apparently,
they're always at a double wide.
And it decided that it was going to this Bigfoot was going to grab the end of her double wide and try to pick it up off the cinder blocks. And we all know what happens when you shake a double wide.
Yeah, we do.
You ever been in a double wide?
If this double wide's a rockin', don't come a knockin', baby.
I had met a young lady at a drinking establishment long ago in the mountains of, or not the mountains, but the semi-mountainous regions of different states. And she took me back.
Mountain dwellers.
And she took me back to her double wide.
Really?
And
I don't think I've ever been in a double wide.
And it was inhabited not just by her, but by other strange creatures,
strange individuals,
sitting on milk crates and doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Smoking the camels.
I'm not quite sure how I made it out of there alive.
Or without a disease, or maybe you have one.
That's right. So UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings were happening in the same area around the same time. So culminating in a couple different events. So on September 27, 1973, a hairy man-beast is seen running into the woods holding a ball of light in his hand. Oh. Believe it or not, by a few different witnesses.
Holding a ball of light.
Shortly thereafter, a UFO appears and projects a beam of light right down to where the Bigfoot was.
I told you.
Located.
The big feets are piloting the UFOs.
That's right.
You don't know. Just because they look like big feet doesn't mean that they... Look at Chewbacca. Chewbacca could fly the Millennium Falcon, and he looks like a Bigfoot.
He could.
He yells a lot.
He was a highly intelligent species of big feet.
A Wookiee.
A Wookiee? Is that what they called him?
Yeah, he's a Wookiee. There's a whole planet of Wookiees.
There is?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm not really big into Star Wars, but, you know.
You seem to know a lot about Chewbacca, though.
That he was a Wookiee? Every idiot knows that he was
You have a
Wookiee.
full-size Chewbacca costume that you get up into, don't you?
Only on Saturdays.
But it has the... there's one small difference, though. It has the buttocks cut out.
There's no buttock area. There's a panel.
So in October 1973, several young men that were hanging out at a farm, they saw a large ball of light
They were drinking moonshine.
come down out of the sky, and it started hovering about 100 feet up off the ground, and then started moving again towards the ground. A lot of eyewitnesses to this one. They saw that big orange ball was coming down, and so a young man with these two young boys decided that he was going to go investigate this. So what does he do? He grabs his old Pappy's 30-06, because why not? You got to have some protection. You don't know what the hell's going on
Pretty
over
big
there.
round there.
So he sees this ball of light come down, and then he sees a glow appearing out of the tree line. Then suddenly he sees another tall, strange bipedal creature with red eyes start walking along the fence line, right?
They always have red eyes.
So he's walking along the fence line, and then behind him is another one of these creatures, and they start walking towards their location, making strange noises. Sounding much like a baby crying, a tortured baby of some kind.
Ouch.
So what does this good, patriotic, red-blooded American do?
Shoot at it.
He shoots at it.
Hell yeah. That's what I would do.
He fired a couple rounds at it. He says he hit one.
Good for him. You know, the fundamentals of marksmanship never change, Jay. They never change.
So what do you think the creatures did?
Yelled.
No, they didn't really do much of anything. All of a sudden, the lights went out, and all he could see was their red eyes, and they turned and started walking back towards the craft.
I was going to say, did they start walking towards the guy? Because that's when he starts retreating or tactically redeploying.
No, he didn't go any further towards them, and they decided once they got fired upon by this 30-06, which we talked about earlier.
Yes.
They decided to turn around and walk back to the craft, and off they went. They disappeared into nothingness.
Well, you know, the moral of the story should be, if you ever encounter something strange, you should shoot at it.
That's right.
Just in case.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this though. I mean, you if you hear strange noises around your house,
yes.
If you think somebody's breaking in,
yes.
Or if you see hairy bipedal man creatures peering in your windows,
yes.
Aren't you going to get a firearm?
Yes, of course I would. But you know, you always have to know what you're shooting at.
That's right.
You don't want to just shoot it indiscriminately at things.
No, you have to always clearly identify your target,
right, and what's
make
behind
sure
it.
that deadly force is authorized.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a big heap of trouble.
You're going to be in the brig, man.
So 73-74 time frame was the peak of these events for some reason, but they still continue to this day. There's been numerous UFO sightings over the course of the past 40 years as well in that particular area. So you wonder, is it much like the Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, again, there tends to be an overlap of UFO activity and like Sasquatches or right. otherworldly or strange creatures, not just in those two places, but we've talked. I don't think we discussed it in detail, but here in our own area, the Bridgewater Triangle,
right.
In Massachusetts, is a hotbed of UFO activity and also Sasquatch activity. Mm-hmm. So, what is the correlation? How are they related?
Well, like we said earlier, maybe it's just the thinning of the veil, and all these things they come together at the same time for whatever strange reason,
or the big feet's a pilot in the aircraft, or they're all part of other dimensions or realms or whatever the case may be, and as you say, that's where they come over, and that's why you see them there. But what are they doing? Who knows?
Well, we don't know, and that's the mystery of it. So one of the other creatures too, which I mentioned briefly, was the Thunderbirds.
Oh,
and the Thunderbirds are not just an Air Force aerial act.
No,
they are a unknown bird that people describe as being a large winged creature, much larger than any other bird that you may see. And they come down and they can rip you apart and they can pick you up and take you away.
Was that like the Mothman?
Yeah, but it's more like a bird though.
But a bird,
not like a strange.
Oh, just abnormally large birds. I've seen some abnormally large birds flying about that you can't quickly identify. I have a small dog. Mm-hmm. He is very fat and corpulent, but I fear for his safety. No bird's picking him up.
You don't think so?
It would have a hernia.
You know what birds fly that are amazing to watch that you don't think would be able to fly?
A turkey.
The turkey.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And you know what? The reason I know that is because I live in a rural area and we have turkeys a lot in our yard. And they typically don't fly. They're typically just walking around. However, I have seen them spooked and they can fly. They don't fly like really high, but they can get up into the trees there.
They get up into trees.
Yep.
And,
they are pretty scary looking.
They wander around in a very ominous and, intimidating pack.
Yeah.
What is a pack of turkeys called?
I don't know. A pod, maybe?
A pod of turkeys?
I don't know.
A gaggle? That would be geese, though. A group? I don't know. I'm going to look it up right now while you're sipping on your beverage.
I don't know what a group of turkeys is called. I do know that there's usually a tom. A tom is the male turkey.
Yes.
And he's usually looking out for threats. He doesn't really eat a lot when the other ones are eating. He's looking around for anything that's going to go after him. And I know that turkeys do actually have a talon on their foot that they could stab you with.
They could disembowel you with it.
Yep.
So a group of turkeys is called a rafter or a flock. You could also call it a flock.
Well, flock is probably more accurate.
A flock of turkeys? Oh, that makes
sense. Why do they
sense.
come up with names for different names? That's so stupid.
What do you mean?
Name everything the same.
What do you mean?
Like if there's a group of group of lions, they call it a pride. No, it's a group of lions. So why do you got to call it all different names and get into all this weirdo classification?
You wouldn't say a flock of lions.
Would you stop labeling things?
It's not a flock.
Just call it a group.
It's a pride.
No. A pride. Where does that even come from?
Bird, like
thing
poultry, like flying creatures.
Oh, because they're lions, they have pride? I know a bunch of lions. They're a bunch of jerks.
Well,
they don't have any pride.
What would you call a group of lions then?
I would call them a group of lions.
No, you have to have a clear, concise word.
No, this is nonsense.
No.
This is just people trying to be important and come up with names for things.
It's a pride.
They need to stop.
It's a pride.
Pride.
You have no pride.
Oh, it's a gaggle of monkeys. What the heck are you talking about?
It's not a gaggle. It'll be a group.
How come it's not a pride of monkeys? Because they poop in the hand and throw it at you? They don't have any pride? This whole thing is ridiculous.
Well, you enjoy poop.
So? Anyway.
No, you got to stay away from the chimpanzees, though.
Yeah. You know what? People don't realize how strong primates are. A primate can rip you in half and beat you to death with your own arm.
You know, there's stories of because what happens is male chimpanzees can be very aggressive and territorial, especially when it comes to women chimpanzees that are in heat and they try to defend their groups. And they're big and
you're in heat.
They're not the cutest little things that you see on TV. They're big and they're strong and they're dangerous and they're powerful. And what they do is one of their moves is to maim you.
Ooh.
If they get their hands on you and they're pissed off, they grab your body parts and they rip them off.
Oh my God.
I'm serious. They rip off your hands and your
great.
fingers and your penis. There's this record of that.
You know what? People, every once in a while, unfortunately, people think that you can have them as pets, chimpanzees or whatever. And every once in a while, there'll be one that attacks their owner, rips their face off or something.
You know, it bothers me when I see people that have wild animals as pets.
Yeah.
It irritates me. And as a matter of fact, I saw a video the other day, and it was like, it was so cute. It's a little baby deer and a little baby grizzly bear.
Oh, a baby grizzly bear,
in somebody's kitchen, kissing and playing and rolling around.
Until it realizes that it doesn't have to listen to you.
Why do you have wild animals in your kitchen?
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
And when the bear becomes 1,000 pounds and decides he wants to eat your face.
And now you can't stop him.
You can't stop him. Wild animals are left to be in the wild.
I agree.
That's why you have domesticated furry creatures that you can play with.
Anyway.
And fish. You can have a fish.
Are you done with your story
fish
now?
bowl.
We're at the end of our program.
Are we?
Yeah.
So what do you think about all this?
Again, I think that there's strange areas of the world, and we don't know. But there's been so many sightings and stories that you have to, at some point, you have to go, this is not made up. There is something there. What that something is the core question of anything that we talk about in this program, because we never really know. There's always some sort of weirdness, unexplained aspect to it.
Well, the thing is, if you have one or two people reporting an incident, it's easier to dismiss.
Right, sure.
But if you have a whole community and a group of people, now, it could just be a group hallucination. It could be, like we talked earlier, the power of suggestion, right? Mm-hmm. So you hear a couple stories of things happening in this particular area, and now all of a sudden you're mentally predisposed to jumping to conclusions when you see a light in the sky or something, and then it gets reported as a UFO. Maybe that's what happened.
Right.
I don't know.
It's unknown.
It's unknown and it's strange.
And it gives us material to talk about in this program.
That's strange. You know what's going to be strange for me tonight when I drink a gallon of cheap wine? And then some mysteries are really going to be abound.
That will be strange.
Yep. You have anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think that we're going to have another week off, though. I don't think we're going to have a show next week.
Maybe, maybe not.
Depends.
Because you're going out of town.
I'm going out of town on a well-deserved vacation, family vacation. Mm-hmm. And I will come back with some cool stories, I'm sure.
Is it much of a relaxing vacation when you have to drive with a van full of kids?
And that's the thing. See, everyone in my family is all excited to go on this trip, and I'm excited to go too, but I'm the one that has to drive everybody.
Sure.
So I won't get excited until I actually get to where we're going.
That's right.
Because then I can relax a little bit. But
how are they in the car? Is everybody fine to get their electronics?
They're usually okay.
Yeah.
You know, for a few hours, but then if you go any longer than that, then they start crying and complaining and throwing stuff and becoming a big bunch of chimpanzees.
That's the mystery, the biggest mystery of the universe right there. So, until next time, just remember, the truth exists. Believe it.